Hydrogenated oils, the FDA has declared unsafe for human consumption, are still the primary ingredient in some of America's most popular whipped cream brands. That comforting dollop on your pie, that swirl on your hot chocolate. It might contain trans fats linked to heart attacks, high fructose corn syrup tied to fatty liver disease, and sodium polyphosphate connected to accelerated aging of your blood vessels, all disguised as a simple dessert topping. If this has been your go-to brand for 10, 20, 30 years, everything we found has been building up in your system that entire time. Today, we are breaking down 11 whipped cream brands that failed to earn your trust, including 3 that most people consider kitchen staples, plus the 2 brands that actually deliver real cream without the chemical cocktail. Coming in at number 11, Favorite Day. Target launched this brand as their playful in-house dessert line. Bright packaging, fun flavors, the kind of thing you toss in the cart because it looks cheerful and costs almost nothing. The promise is simple indulgence from a retailer you already trust with everything from groceries to household essentials. But flip that colorful can around and read the ingredients. Corn syrup sits near the top of the list. Mono and diglycerides follow. Artificial stabilizers round out a formula designed to look pretty on a shelf, not to nourish anyone eating it. Corn syrup is not sugar. It is a heavily processed sweetener that the body metabolizes differently, flooding the liver and spiking blood glucose faster than table sugar does. For anyone managing type 2 diabetes or watching their A1C numbers, that hidden corn syrup is a saboteur working against every careful meal choice you make. You think you are adding a harmless 2-tablespoon dollop to your dessert. Your pancreas thinks otherwise. The mono and diglycerides are emulsifiers, chemicals that keep the texture smooth and uniform. They are not listed as trans fats on the nutrition label, but published research has shown they can contain trans fatty acids as manufacturing byproducts. So even when the label says 0 trans fat, the emulsifiers tell a different story. Squeeze that can. Watch the whipped cream come out unnaturally stiff, almost plastic in how it holds its shape. Real cream softens and sags and melts into warm pie. This holds like caulk. That perfect swirl is chemistry, not cooking. $1 saved at checkout, a price your blood sugar pays later. If Target's budget brand cuts corners, surely a legacy dairy brand with over a century of history does better. Think again. At number 10, Lucerne. Albertsons and Safeway have sold Lucerne dairy products for over 115 years. That is generational trust baked into every shopping trip. Your grandparents bought it. Your parents bought it. You buy it now because the name alone feels like a guarantee of quality. But the standard Lucerne whipped topping is not the same product as their extra creamy version that uses real cream. The basic formula leans on corn syrup, carrageenan, and a lineup of emulsifiers to fill the tub as cheaply as possible. Carrageenan is extracted from red seaweed, and it sounds natural until you examine the science. Studies published in peer-reviewed journals have linked degraded carrageenan to intestinal inflammation, increased gut permeability, and worsening symptoms in people with irritable bowel syndrome and inflammatory bowel conditions. For anyone already dealing with digestive trouble or taking daily medication for chronic gut issues, carrageenan is pouring fuel on a fire. You are spending real money and real effort trying to put out. Open that tub. Smell it. There is a faint chemical sweetness that real whipped cream never carries. Taste it, and notice how it coats your tongue with a waxy film instead of dissolving cleanly the way dairy does. That residue is the emulsifiers clinging to your mouth the same way they cling to your intestinal lining. 115 years of history on the label, not 1 year spent making the cheap version worthy of that name. Lucerne could use real cream in every product they sell. They choose not to. The legacy is the packaging. The contents are whatever costs least. You might think switching to a lighter option solves the problem. It makes it worse. Number 9. Market Pantry. This is Target's other store brand, and the light whipped cream topping is marketed directly at calorie-conscious shoppers who believe they are making a responsible choice. Fewer calories, less guilt, a sensible option for dessert night. That is the pitch. The reality is that removing fat from a whipped product means replacing it with something else to maintain the texture and sweetness consumers expect. In this case, that something is more corn syrup and a full roster of chemical thickeners and stabilizers. The word light on this label has no strict FDA definition for whipped toppings. It implies healthier. It delivers cheaper. The corn syrup is still there, just rebalanced around the reduced fat content, so the numbers look better on paper. For people watching their cholesterol numbers and following doctors' orders to eat lighter, or families trying to reduce sugar intake across every meal, this product can actually work against both goals simultaneously. Added sugars from corn syrup elevate triglyceride levels, and elevated triglycerides are an independent risk factor for cardiovascular disease, separate from cholesterol entirely. So the product you chose to protect your heart may be quietly straining it from a direction you were not watching. Squeeze some onto a plate. Watch how it sits there, rigid and glossy, almost like shaving cream from a drugstore can. Real whipped cream is delicate and ephemeral. This is engineered to survive a product photo shoot, not to melt into warm pie the way honest cream does. Market Pantry. Light is not lighter anything. It is a different product entirely. Light on cream, heavy on everything your body does not need. But at least a discount grocery chain famous for quality delivers the real thing, right? Not even close. Number 8. Friendly Farms. Aldi has earned a genuine reputation for surprising value and clean products. Shoppers trust that chain with a loyalty most grocery stores envy. Friendly Farms is their house dairy brand, and it carries that trust like a badge. But some of their tub-style whipped toppings contain hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, and a list of artificial stabilizers long enough to fill a chemistry textbook. Hydrogenated oils are the serious problem here. The American Heart Association has warned for years that trans fats from hydrogenated oils raise LDL cholesterol, the dangerous kind, while simultaneously lowering HDL cholesterol, the protective kind. That is a double attack on your cardiovascular system from one single ingredient. The FDA formally determined in 2015 that partially hydrogenated oils are not generally recognized as safe for human consumption. Not safe. Those exact words from the federal agency whose entire job is to protect you. And yet here they sit in a whipped topping sold to millions of American families every year. For anyone on statin medication or managing heart disease with daily prescriptions, these hydrogenated oils are actively undermining the drugs your doctor prescribed. Your medication pushes cholesterol down. Your dessert topping pushes it right back up. Open the tub. That slightly greasy sheen on the surface is not cream separating naturally. It is oil. Dip a spoon in and feel the density, heavier than real whipped cream, thick like frosting. That weight is hydrogenated fat pretending to be dairy. Aldi saves you money at the register. Friendly Farms may cost you something no wallet can cover. Drop a comment if you have Friendly Farms or any of these brands sitting in your fridge right now. Let us see how many of us have been buying this without knowing. If the bargain brands all fail, at least the premium shelf is safer. Not a chance. Number 7. Classic Cream. That sleek black can with the upscale branding. Everything about Classic Cream whispers sophistication and exclusivity. This is the whipped cream you bring out when guests come over for dinner. The one that looks expensive sitting on the counter beside dessert plates. Behind the packaging, the ingredient list tells a completely different story. Diglycerides, carrageenan, and dextrose fill out a formula that contradicts every premium promise the branding makes. Dextrose is a simple sugar derived from corn that adds sweetness and empty calories with zero nutritional benefit. Combined with carrageenan's well-documented inflammatory potential and the hidden trans fat risk that diglycerides carry as manufacturing byproducts, you are paying boutique prices for the same chemical cocktail found in every budget brand we have already covered. For anyone managing blood pressure alongside daily medication, or families serving this at holiday gatherings where 3 generations sit at the same table, the hidden sugars can worsen hypertension, while the inflammatory additives aggravate conditions you are already fighting to control every single day. Press the nozzle. Listen to the hiss. Watch the cream spiral out in that perfect rosette designed to look like something from a pastry chef. It is beautiful. It photographs beautifully. It is engineered to perform visually, not to nourish the person eating it. Taste it, and there is a faintly synthetic sweetness beneath the cream flavor, the dextrose doing its quiet work while you think you are eating something premium. A premium can hiding a budget formula. That is the entire Classic Cream business model. Elegance outside, corn sugar and emulsifiers inside. See the pattern forming? Budget brands cut corners. Legacy brands ride their names. Premium brands sell packaging. So where does that leave the biggest store brand in America? Let us find out. Number 6. Great value. Walmart's house brand is the single top-selling store label in the entire country. Millions of American households keep great value products in their kitchens every single week because the price is right and the name promises exactly what shoppers want to believe. But the Great Value aerosol whipped topping lists high fructose corn syrup as a leading ingredient. Following close behind are hydrogenated coconut and palm kernel oils and a long parade of chemical emulsifiers with names most people cannot pronounce. High fructose corn syrup has been linked in multiple published studies to insulin resistance, fatty liver disease, and elevated uric acid levels that contribute to gout. Hydrogenated coconut and palm kernel oils carry the same trans fat risks the FDA has already declared unsafe for consumption. Together in one single can, they create a product that attacks your metabolic system from multiple directions at the same time. For people who rely on great value because the budget is stretched thin, and families counting every dollar at the checkout line, this is the cruelest trick in the grocery store. The people who can least afford healthcare are the ones most exposed to ingredients that guarantee they will eventually need it. Shake the can. That rattle inside is the propellant mixing with the chemical slurry. Spray it and watch it slowly deflate into a sad puddle on your plate. Real cream holds its shape because of natural fat structure. This collapses because it was never cream in the first place. Great value whipped topping. Every penny at the register, every hospital bill later. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free and it means you will never miss these exposes. This next brand was actually described by taste testers as smelling like plastic when they opened the tub, and it is probably in your freezer right now. Number 5. Great Value Dairy Whipped Topping. This is the freezer aisle tub that Walmart sells right next to Cool Whip, and the word dairy printed right on the front implies real cream, real milk, something that actually came from a cow. Taste testers have described an oddly artificial texture, simultaneously gritty and foamy, like someone whipped margarine through a chemical aerator. Upon opening, there is a faint plastic-like smell that has nothing to do with dairy farming and everything to do with industrial processing in a factory. The stabilizer list includes sodium polyphosphates. These are phosphate additives used to maintain texture and extend shelf life far beyond what any real dairy product could survive. Research published in Deutsches Arzteblatt International linked dietary phosphate additives directly to accelerated vascular aging, meaning they speed up the hardening and deterioration of your blood vessels over time. For anyone with compromised kidney function, early-stage kidney disease, or families where kidney problems run in the bloodline, phosphate additives are especially dangerous because damaged kidneys cannot filter excess phosphorus efficiently. The mineral accumulates in the body, leaching calcium from bones and depositing it in your blood vessel walls where it does not belong. Your dessert topping is aging your entire circulatory system from the inside out. Peel back the lid and look at the surface. That uniform, almost rubbery plane is not whipped cream. Real cream has imperfections, soft peaks, tiny air pockets that catch the light. This is smooth like a silicone mold poured in a factory. Dairy on the label, chemistry in the tub. Your kidneys know the difference even if the marketing team hopes you never will. The next brand on this list has been an American kitchen staple for nearly 60 years, and what is hiding inside should have been a scandal decades ago. Number 4. Cool Whip Original. Since 1966, Cool Whip has been synonymous with American dessert culture. Thanksgiving pies as summer barbecues, church potluck tables covered in blue tubs. Generations of families associate that container with celebration and comfort and home. But read the ingredient list and the celebration ends fast. The first 3 ingredients are water, hydrogenated vegetable oil, and high fructose corn syrup. The primary components of America's favorite whipped topping contain almost no actual dairy whatsoever. You have been spooning hydrogenated oil onto your grandmother's pumpkin pie for decades and calling it cream. For anyone on statin medication trying to manage cholesterol levels, or families where heart disease runs through the generations like an unwanted inheritance, the combination of hydrogenated oils raising LDL cholesterol and high fructose corn syrup promoting fatty liver creates a cardiovascular assault disguised as a holiday tradition. Scoop some from the tub and set it on the counter. Notice how it does not melt at room temperature the way real dairy cream does. It holds its shape for hours because oil does not behave like dairy fat. That unnatural persistence everyone mistakes for quality is actually the hydrogenated oils stubbornly refusing to break down on your plate, the exact same way they refuse to break down inside your arteries once you swallow them. 60 years of trust, 60 years of water and oil in a blue tub. The packaging is an American icon. The ingredients inside are an American tragedy. A lot of people switched to Cool Whip fat-free, thinking they were avoiding everything we just talked about. They were not. Number 3. Cool Whip Fat-Free. This version targets health-conscious consumers and people whose doctors specifically told them to cut dietary fat from their meals. The packaging practically wears a lab coat and a stethoscope, but removing fat from a product that was already mostly water and oil required replacing it with even more corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, and chemical thickeners to maintain any semblance of texture and taste. The ingredient list for the fat-free version is actually longer and more heavily processed than the original Cool Whip. More chemicals to solve a problem that more chemicals created in the first place. For anyone who is diabetic or pre-diabetic and chose this product specifically to protect their blood sugar, the concentrated corn syrups can trigger dangerous glucose spikes that defeat the entire purpose of choosing fat-free. The polysorbate 60 emulsifier used to replace the texture that fat normally provides has been shown in animal studies to promote gut inflammation and disrupt the intestinal microbiome in ways researchers are still measuring. Spoon some out and taste it. It is lighter than the original, almost ghostly, and it dissolves on your tongue with an artificial sweetness that lingers far too long. That clinging aftertaste is the corn syrup and chemical sweeteners competing for dominance on your taste buds. Real cream vanishes clean and quick. This haunts your palate like a chemical ghost. They removed the one ingredient that might have been remotely real and replaced it with more of everything fake. Fat-free, additive full. That is the trade you made. Think the sugar-free version finally gets it right? Wait until you read the asterisk. Number 2. Cool Whip Sugar-Free. This product exists for one specific audience: diabetics and low-carb dieters who need to eliminate sugar from their diet. The label says sugar-free in bold letters. It positions itself as guilt-free indulgence for people who have been told they cannot have the real thing anymore. But look closer at the fine print. The ingredient list still includes corn syrup. There is an asterisk on the packaging that quietly notes, it adds a trivial amount of sugar. Trivial according to whom? For someone calculating carbohydrate intake down to the gram to calibrate insulin dosing, trivial is not a medical term. It is a marketing word designed to survive a lawsuit while keeping the product on shelves. The hydrogenated oils remain in the formula. The artificial sweeteners remain. The sodium polyphosphate remains unchanged. For anyone on diabetes medication who trusted sugar-free to mean exactly what those two words promise, this labeling can cause genuine and dangerous miscalculations in carbohydrate counting. Those miscalculations have real consequences: blood sugar swings, medication timing errors, and long-term complications that compound silently over months and years. The sodium polyphosphate additive appears again here. The same ingredient linked in published research to accelerated vascular aging and blood vessel deterioration. Open the tub and taste it carefully. There is a metallic edge beneath the sweetness, a sharpness that real cream never produces. That is artificial sweetener battling residual corn syrup for dominance. Two opposing chemical flavors fighting on your tongue because the formula was designed by accountants, not cooks. Sugar-free with an asterisk. Safe with conditions. Nothing about this product is honest. What is the worst whipped cream you have ever tasted? Drop it in the comments below. And now number 1. The single most deceptive product on this entire list. Cool Whip Light. This version combines every single problem we have exposed today into one tub and wraps it all in the most dangerous word in the entire grocery store: LEET. Hydrogenated oils are still here. Multiple corn syrups are still here. And sodium polyphosphate is still here, the additive that a study published in Deutsches Arzteblatt International directly linked to accelerated vascular aging and organ damage. That peer-reviewed study did not find a maybe or a possibly. It found a direct association between phosphate food additives and the deterioration of blood vessels and organ tissue in the people consuming them. Light implies permission. It tells the person with heart disease that an extra spoonful is perfectly fine. It tells the person managing kidney problems that this version is the responsible choice. It tells the diabetic counting every carb that lighty means less of the bad stuff. None of that is true. The calorie reduction compared to the original is minimal at best. The chemical load is functionally identical. The health consequences are the same or worse because the lighty label actively encourages the very people most vulnerable to these ingredients to consume more of them more often. Scoop it out of the tub. Same artificial texture as every other Cool Whip variant. Same stubborn refusal to melt at room temperature. Same faint chemical smell when you bring the spoon close to your nose. This is not a lighter version of anything real. It is the same hydrogenated corn syrup-laden phosphate-loaded product with a single word on the label that functions as a permission slip for overconsumption. Cool Whip Light is not food pretending to be healthy. It is marketing pretending to be food. And for anyone managing heart disease, kidney function, or blood sugar, it is the most dangerous product in this entire countdown because the label actively lies about what it will do to your body. Light on the label, heavy on the consequences. 11 brands exposed, from Favorite Days corn syrup disguise to Cool Whip Light's dangerous permission slip. That is what has been sitting in your fridge. That is what you have been putting on your family's dessert. But real whipped cream does exist. 2 brands prove you do not have to choose between chemicals and going without. Reddi-wip Original. Finally, a can that contains what it actually claims. Reddi-wip lists its real grade A dairy cream as the first ingredient. Not water, not hydrogenated oil, not corn syrup, cream. The rest of the ingredient list is short enough to read in a single breath. Cream, sugar, non-fat milk, and nitrous oxide as propellant. No high fructose corn syrup anywhere. No carrageenan, no polysorbates. No hydrogenated oils in any variety they produce. That is a standard almost no other aerosol whipped cream brand in America can match. Press the nozzle and listen. The sound is different from the chemical-laden cans, lighter and less aggressively pressurized. Watch the cream emerge. It is softer than the imposters, less rigid, with the gentle natural peaks that real dairy fat creates on its own without any help from emulsifiers. Taste it and feel clean sweetness that dissolves on your tongue and vanishes completely without leaving a chemical aftertaste clinging to your palate. That is what cream is supposed to do. It does not coat. It does not linger. It does not leave you wondering what you just ate. For anyone taking daily medication for blood pressure or cholesterol, or families where heart health shapes every grocery decision, there are no hydrogenated oils here working against your prescriptions. No inflammatory additives lurking beneath the cream. No hidden corn syrups spiking blood sugar when you thought you were just having dessert. Reddi-wip costs $1 or $2 more than the chemical alternatives. That small difference is the price of knowing exactly what you are eating. Real cream. Short ingredients. No asterisks. No apologies. Cabot whipped cream. If Reddi-wip is the clean choice on the grocery shelf, Cabot is the clean choice straight from the farm. Cabot is a farmer-owned cooperative based in New England, not a multinational corporation, not a faceless conglomerate answering to Wall Street shareholders. A co-op where the farmers who raise the cows actually own the company that sells you the cream. Their supply chain runs from pasture to product under their own oversight, and their milk comes from cows not treated with RBST growth hormone. The ingredient list is among the shortest in the entire whipped cream industry. Real cream, sugar, and minimal stabilizers. That is the entire formula. No hydrogenated oils hiding in the middle of the list. No high fructose corn syrup bulking out the sweetness. No carrageenan inflaming your gut. No sodium polyphosphate aging your blood vessels. Independent consumer ratings have consistently given Cabot high marks for both ingredient transparency and actual taste quality. Open the container and breathe in. The smell is clean dairy, rich and faintly sweet, without the plastic or chemical undertones that every tub-style product on our avoid list carries. The texture is dense in the honest way that real milk fat provides, not the artificial heaviness that emulsifiers and hydrogenated oils fake. It melts on warm pie exactly the way cream should, softening gently into the filling rather than sitting on top like a synthetic rubber cap. For anyone whose daily prescriptions include blood pressure or cholesterol medication, or families where diabetes shapes every ingredient label you read, Cabot will not interfere with what those drugs and those efforts are trying to accomplish. This is whipped cream that respects the work you put into staying healthy. Farmer-owned. Farm-sourced. No chemistry degree required. 11 brands exposed. Your fridge needs cleaning tonight. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.